Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space where we discuss everything relationship and love. And I'm your host, Franca. Tonight on the show, I have my two regular guy men, Sheyi Ilesomi and Doctor. I mean, doctor. I want to call Sir Joe Doctor because I need to cure me since Barrister Joe.
Doctor Barrister.
Doctor Barrister Joe. Sir Joe of life. I see you. Epadomo.
Yeah, putting me on borrowed rope. I'm not a doctor, nor a
Or a barrister. Or a pa.
frankly,
What? I dey look you since. I know say I
or
no
a
wan
pa.
talk. No say I dey look you since I no wan talk. That's the way you dey. The kind guy man wey you dey do since I dey look you. No say you don old.
Look at that man when I deal with baby.
Eh? You said guy man wey dey with baby girl. Can you imagine? Sajo, wetin dey hungry you not just dey this? They not dey at
You
all.
want
You
me
see? You
to
say
change?
wetin?
You want me to change that for me?
Okay, no, it's allowed. But if you see it's Sajo no be real guy
You
man.
want me to
Sajo you
change
know
that
here,
for
not be
me?
the
Man,
same guy
not do
man.
guy man when baby girl.
Sajo, do the one wey you do. Abeg, do the one wey sweet you.
This life now once.
This life na once.
Can you hear me?
Sajo, we can hear you. How are you? Hello, Sajo. Are we having internet issues again today?
You.
Sajo, we were hearing you, but you cut off and then you're back again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Loud and clear. Okay, so tonight on the show, we're looking at...
Evening.
Good evening. So tonight on the show, we're looking at, is marriage a religious act or a legal contract? I like that Sajo is here. That legal part, Sajo would break it down for us. And I'm happy that you're very religious as well. And you're also a family lawyer. So from your own point of view, is marriage a legal contract, or a religious act?
You know, with respect to this topic, I'm wearing two caps. First, I'm wearing a cap of a lawyer, but more importantly, I'm wearing a cap of a Catholic Christian. And it is difficult for me not to agree and align with the doctrines of the church that marriage is a sacrament.
Sajo likes to show.
Now, I didn't hear that.
Sajo, at every opportunity, you like to show off.
No, to the extent that it is a sacrament of the church, one would want to believe that it is a religious act. But of course, if we delve into the history of how marriage was introduced into the church doctrine as a sacrament, we'll know that from time immemorial, it was not seen as one. But of course, as we evolved, as the church expounded in its doctrines, it became necessary for the stability of society and to infuse the Jewish understanding of the institution marriage into the doctrine of the church. That was when I believe it was fully introduced and effectively held to be a sacrament. And for me, it stops there. I'll be quick to say that marriage is a contract, a legal contract, legal binding contract. Okay. If I wear the second cap, I would see marriage as either a traditional right or a contract. Now, whether we put it in the form of what we celebrate in the church or the traditional requirements and performance that legitimize unions of male and female, I say that with serious emphasis, of male and female. It is tradition of a people. What we do in the Catholic Church is the tradition of a people that has evolved over time and has now been infused into the church doctrines. So marriage for me is both traditional and legal. I'll also be quick to state that for purpose of validity, privileges, dissolution of marriages, it is purely legal. And whether you call it religious act or you call it traditional act, it is determined by the strict application of the laws that give validity to that marriage. So in that light, I would say for the comfort of my Catholic brothers and sisters, oh, it is a sacrament. But the reality is that it's a legal contract.
Okay. The reality, that's what I would take, is a legal contract. Shay?
Well, you know me, I would always introduce a bit of religious.
I can't hear Shay.
Okay. I think for me personally, marriage is in between a legal contract and a religious act. I would even like to take a step further and say it is a spiritual act, which is to say that if done properly, if marriage is done properly, executed properly, chances are that both lives become better as a result of the marriage, as a result of coming together. And that kind of gives a spiritual tone to it, which is not just legal, right? In also, I mean, if we're looking at it from a legal point of view, just like Sergio said, everything that has to do around marriage, coming together, signing, dissolution of it is legal as well. So I would say that marriage is, somewhere in between a religious act and depending on how you look at it. Some look at it purely as transactional, where, they draw up, even before they get married, there's, what do they call it? They write down all the things they want to achieve, what you are bringing to the table, what I am bringing to the table, and they go by that. And some just don't look at that and just say, you know what, according to the Bible, according to the spiritual laws, these are the things that we'll do, and these are the things that we won't do, and hopefully it works.
Okay, so, just listening to both of you, there are very strong words in marriages that puts that it's binding the marriage. Legal contract and a spiritual act, a religious act, and you even added spiritual. And I'm thinking, so why is marriage not working? Why are marriages not working? Because really, if there's a legal contract that has consequences, and there's the religious act that people should actually abide to because of how deep it is, and then you now add the spiritual part of it, then what is wrong? So is it that people no longer take it that the contract, people don't take that contract or that religious part of it that serious? Because if you look at what is embedded in a marriage, like the whole marriage thing is supposed to be something that people get into, and it just with all seriousness, not really seriousness, with all sense of devotion, and it's supposed to just make you feel, how you feel when you go into the church. It's supposed to be like your safe space. Ideally, that's what it's supposed to be. So is it because you have two individuals from different backgrounds or whatever come into that space, but even if you have different people coming, different individuals go into the church, and the place is still serene? Do you understand? So is it that people no longer, is it that the doctrine, something is wrong? Because you see marriages now, it feels like it has no binding. There's nothing holding it, Even the legal, people not even they fear again with the so-called legal contract. And people are not scared. Okay, so let me not say everybody. There are still people who actually respect it, But it's just like a joke for everybody now, for a lot of people now. What would you say is the cost of that?
For that, generally, is a society thing. If you
Okay.
think about it, it's not just marriage. People just don't take anything serious again. Do you understand? People don't take parenting serious. People don't take, even, we're just talking about it now, work. People don't take work as serious as we used to.
So people have lost values.
Yes, values, the society has kind of been watered down with a lot of things that brought up the society: values, community, family, work ethics, integrity. Just all those things have been watered down. People don't no longer care. So it's not just a marriage thing. I think it's a societal thing. I think something has to change.
Happen.
Yes, the way that
Something
we,
happen. Something needs to happen for
for
things to go back to how
society
it
to
was.
reconstruct itself, for us to go back to the days where when you say something, you mean it. When you say, okay, I give you my word. Before, we did do, what's it called, gentleman's agreement. And you say, you hear your dad say, I told that man, this is what I was going to do.
And I can't go
have
back.
to, yeah, exactly, and I have to do it. I told this woman, if any day they catch me, they do this.
People's
May
words
they-
used to be their bond.
Yes, you go school, you did something that messed up the family name. You will go for it, and all those things have kind of been watered down. So it's not just marriage in isolation; it's the fabrics of the society. Everything has been watered down. People no longer have values. People don't care about repercussions of this thing, and unfortunately, Nigeria is worse off because even our legal application of the legal aspect of it, repercussions, if you go wrong in something, the punishment has been really watered down. Maybe Sajo will speak to that. But I feel like there's so many things that you do. If you go into a legal contract with somebody, even if you renege on that contract, the repercussions like that is not so much. You feel like you will go off with anything. For example, somebody who, I was private to a friend who had a divorce, and they were in court for like 3 years to try and finalize the divorce, to get everything, and eventually to get custody of the kids. Eventually, they gave them shared custody, and the lady didn't honor the agreement. Basically, they had to go back to court and maybe start to say that all over again, and to say that this person didn't honor the contract, and this person, and the other guy was like, am I going to do another 3 years? I beg, if I'm picking, she want to carry go, maybe she carry go. So there's that aspect where the consequences of some of the actions that you've taken are not fully being implemented. It takes too long for implementation. Sometimes
Okay,
some people get away with it.
So I have something to say towards that, but regarding that. But Sergio, what's your take on this? Sergio, you're muted.
My take on what exactly?
On this whole watered down, this whole issue of things, society, this whole issue of society not respecting the marriage vows, respecting the fact that even whether it's a legal contract or it's a religious act, the marriages will see whatever. I don't know what is happening, but what we see right now is no longer what we thought marriage should be.
Well, I have said this in several platforms that it is our present reality, and there's really little or nothing we can do about it. The truth be told, we have become a society with very limited value system. Anything goes now in our society, and we have inherited so much of westernization that we now see it as civilization. So it is only expected that all of these negative impacts in our approach and attitude to life will reflect in every contract, whether it be marriage or any other civil contract. We can only hope that in due course we'll also look at the importance of these contracts that we enter into and begin to have a shift on our attitude towards the contract.
So are we
But other
saying
than
that?
that,
Okay. So sorry, go
yeah,
on.
yeah, other than that, there's really nothing much to say. I mean, there's nothing the podcast will do or this conversation will do to alter the already badly damaged psychic and mindset of Nigerians with respect to honoring and upholding contracts, important terms of contracts. It is what it is.
Because it's really sad when I hear people talk about relationships, reasons why people go into marriage. Yeah. It's not like before people knew why they were getting into marriage. People were getting into marriage because, it was something that everybody was looking up to. And even if it wasn't about money, it was the fact that, you're going to raise children, you're going to have a family of your own. But now, people will say they don't need to get married to have kids. Mm-hmm. So really, and then marriage is like a case. Marriage is like you're in prison. It's like you're not yourself anymore. So is it because we do not understand how to navigate marriage that is causing the problem? Or I've heard somebody say Nigerians are not built for marriage. I don't know how true that is, but I've heard somebody say Nigerians are not wired or they're not built for marriage. And that
is very sickening.
Okay.
Frankly.
Okay.
And it can only come from a debased and dysfunctional mind. Okay. There's no society more built for marriage than the African society, from where we proudly say we're extracted from. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's nothing in our society that is not practically tied towards this institution.
Okay. So I personally
both
think
culturally and socially, that is what we are. For someone at this age and time, who I want to believe is a product of marriage, to say that Nigeria is not built for marriage.
Nigeria, so she says Nigerians. Yeah, so Africa, not Nigerians, African, maybe I think Africans. So I think
I'm sure I can bet you that person has not lived in more than 2 African countries to arrive at such conclusion.
Okay, so I want to believe that where she's coming from is the fact that the relationships you see in Nigeria are really terrible. You understand the percentage. And so in that conversation, I listened to the conversation, and what I got from it was she was saying that even if you're going to be married for 5 years, make sure that 5 years you're happy in the marriage. It's not about how long, it's about how well. Do you understand? If you're in a relationship or you're in a marriage, make sure you uphold whatever it is you have signed for in that marriage. Be the person that, you understand, be present in the marriage. So in that 5 years, you have given in your all to that marriage. So it was worth it. Not to have a marriage for 10, 15 years, and you have been absent, in fact, for 14 years. So there's a difference. You understand? I also think that what she was referring to is the relationship. So you see, so we are meant to understand that the Western world, they have a better relationship when it comes to marriage, because they cuddle, you see them holding hands in public, they kiss and all that, which is their culture. But does that mean they have a better relationship? Shay, what do you think? From what we see them, maybe the films and the narrative they give. So you see them, they cuddle, they hug, you understand, they're in each other's spaces, they communicate. You understand? They communicate. That's what they make us see. They hold hands, they're kissing, they're hugging, they're cuddling and all that. That's what a relationship, an ideal relationship should look like. But really, does it mean the relationship is good?
So there's no how we'll talk about marriage that will not talk about family. Right?
Again, I cannot hear you.
Okay. I said there's no how we'll talk about marriage that won't talk about family as a whole.
Okay.
Right? what they show us and what we see is a little bit different from our own concept of marriage.
Okay.
Our own concept of marriage, especially the African that I grew up in, that I know, is more community conscious. Marriage is not just you and your husband in an individual form. It has more to do with the community. That's why in the Western world, they will get married. The two the husband and wife seemingly have a good marriage, but the kids are so far apart. By 14, 15, they want to leave the house. They don't want to be associated with the parents again. Whereas, and to them, the marriage is good. But in Africa, marriage is the totality of the family. It's the husband, the wife, the children that come from that marriage. How you guys carry each other together, how you evolve into society, how your cousins still. It is more
so Africa is a family-oriented kind of
marriage. Now, we might not show the emotions that people see in terms of you hold each other in
cuddling
marriage,
in public.
Cuddling in public, but you cannot say that there is no commitment. You can't say that there's no affection. Now, the way
maybe they show it differently.
Yeah, the way we communicate this affection is completely different. Your dad wants you to be a better version. He sends you to the farm, make sure equips you with all you need. That is love in their own way, in their own rights. They don't necessarily have to come back and cuddle you and do all that. And in a way, Africa and our generation has kind of gotten it wrong because we've looked to the Western concept of love, of family, and we have left our own,
So what you're saying is, if we had held on to what we know as Africans, our own meaning and our own definition of marriage, the union of marriage, it would have been a lot better than adopting the civilian.
So that is not to say we cannot adopt one or two things from their culture.
From the Western world, yeah.
Yeah, but in adopting it, don't also forget
what you have.
The cultural, we might not, if you think about it then, to be honest, right? Back then, in maybe not even our own father's time, maybe the great ones, how many people they divorce?
And so they say that they were not divorcing because they were tolerating a lot. Were they happy? So the bottom line is, were they actually happy? That's the question everybody's asking. We don't know. So you see, people's definition of happiness is relative. I know some people that the fact that they were married, they saw their children, they saw their great-grandchildren, they didn't have so much money, but even with the fight, so for them, the joy of a good marriage or the joy of a marriage is that fight, those fights, the quarrels, how they make peace, the chaos and everything, going to the farm, seeing your children, grow, your children get. So it's a totality of everything.
Exactly.
So when you see, like my great-grandmother, my grandmother
marriage
would call herself someone who achieved a lot.
Yes.
Because she got married, she built a house, she saw her children, none of her children died, her great-grand. So they were not about personal. It was not about
exactly.
So I don't want to use the selfish. I don't want to use the word. So it was not a personal thing. So their joy and fulfillment came from the totality of what the family looked like. Yes.
Exactly what I've been saying.
I think that's what it is.
Now we are more concerned about me, my happiness. It has to be me because I don't have joy. Whereas you forget that happiness can be derived from
seeing other people happy.
Combination of other things. Sometimes it's not just about me.
Okay, but but you see, when Sajo talks about so you see, I think it's complicated because sometimes Sajo, who is a Catholic, who is a lawyer, also believes in personal fulfillment, happiness. So it's a balance.
Oh, yeah.
You understand? You have to be happy and also make sacrifices, willing to make sacrifices and compromise. So I think a bit of everything is what makes it complete. Do you understand? You have to think of yourself, because you cannot function properly if you're not happy, especially in this world we are in now. You understand? So it has to be you, your family, your immediate family, your extended family, and your community. So the times where they will take themselves out and just sacrifice themselves is long gone.
Which is why I said you have to take in a bit from what you see
From the Western
from the
world.
Western world, which is not totally commit to the idea of, okay, let me take my joy from other. Also give yourself some joy. Take something and add everything together. Also give yourself some joy. Take some. Don't say this one is outrightly bad and discard
So it's a
it.
combination of everything.
Yes.
So you know what I was saying? With this whole Coldplay saga and everything. So I have a friend, I have someone in the UK, and she said something. She said that growing up, she thought it was only African men that cheat. That's what they make us believe, that it's only the black men, African men that make you cheat, that are meant to all, that cheat. But that she was in the park one day, and there were a lot of women, and they just got into a conversation, white women, and she just realized how everybody was complaining about a cheating husband. That's when it dawned on her that it's not an African thing. It is a personal, so I don't even want to make it a gender thing. It's an individual thing. People choose to do what they want to do, regardless of where you're from, regardless of your gender and all that, And taking it back to wanting to pick things from the Western world, if really, really, really they are wired for marriage, I think they have the highest divorce rates.
Yeah.
I personally think so. Separated, highest, we have the highest divorce rates, and most times the families are not together. The kids are, and all that.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't get how the Western world is wired for marriage and they have the highest divorce rate. Sajo. Is Sajo still with us?
I'm here listening.
Okay, so Sajo, I want you to wear your other cap, the legal cap, the barrister cap. Why do we have, based on what we have said, the Western world being wired for marriage, and the African culture, and the African man not, or the Africans not wired for marriage? I just said that I from what I know, I think the Western world has the highest divorce rates. Am I correct?
Well, I do not practice in the West, so I
But
can only speculate.
okay,
But I think you're right
okay,
that they are more involved in multiple marriages within a lifetime.
okay,
And of course, if that is true, then it will naturally follow that they have more divorces than us in
okay,
Africa.
okay. So Sajo, she mentioned that the family, the family culture we have is not something that is practiced. You understand, in the Western world. What we know as Africans, how does it make marriage better? Or how does it help improve the marriage? What we practice, the whole extended family, and all that, does it actually help marriage last?
Now, first and foremost, I was going to react to a position that supposedly implied that because people are holding hands and cuddling,
Okay.
they are more loving and more in tune to marriage or the principles of marriage than Africans. And I really do not agree with that.
Okay.
That is more of a cultural thing than any other thing. I mean, the advantage we have as Africans over then we always want to water down. It is very African to protect and provide, which for me is the strongest foundation upon which any marriage should be built.
Okay.
Every other thing is complementary. Every other thing could sustain or beautify the marriage, so to speak. But truthfully, the institution called marriage is not just about cuddling. That would happen, but you could cuddle out there and then come inward, and then you start your lacks and your you begin to live on your faulty foundations. So I have issues with this generation of Nigerians who do copy for convenience. What I mean by copy for convenience is that a lot of people want to pick and choose. On the one hand, you want to pick the Western culture that suits you, and you also want the man in your life to be the provider and to do everything African. It doesn't work that way. Choose one. In our local corner, we say, stay for one place, more nowhere, the thunder will fire you. Decide what you want to be.
Everything.
Yeah, you can't pick and choose. You can't want to benefit from this. And I mean, it would be absurd and completely unheard of for a man and his wife to go out for a date in Nigeria, and then at the end of the day, you are splitting bills. That will end up in a family meeting. They will call serious family meeting to have that discussion as to whether the man is normal. But in the West, it's normal. Why in the West, Nigerians want to imbibe that culture of cuddling, but they do not want to also take through.
They don't want to pay me. What are you doing?
I mean, it's full support.
It's having full support.
Exactly. So we need to understand that we as a people are built and would always function in the way our society has evolved over time. We're Africans. We cannot begin to be half African. We'll not be pizza when they do half and half. We cannot be half African, half Western. If we are here, let's put everything that's required of this society to make the best of our marriage. And furthermore, it is also not true that their marriages are better than ours, or that Africans would likely cheat more. I mean, the CEO that went viral the last time is not African. And the import of what that's, I mean, they could raise all the defense there is, but that is a clear indication of high-level cheating. And in a very disrespectful manner at that. So we have the Judas in Africa as we have them in the West.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Okay.
And with respect to why, whether our culture helps in sustaining our marriage institution, I would clearly say yes, it did.
Okay.
It did.
Okay.
And the reason we're having this long list, we have intentionally derailed or deviated from those very culture or customs that held our marriage intact and held it strong.
Okay.
You know, we now live in a world where we have introduced so much of westernization. We live in a world where we are talking about swings in Africa, in Nigeria. We live in a world today where we are talking about open marriages. We live in a time where we're talking about gay relationships. In Nigeria, 15 years, 20 years ago, that would have been alien. And are we saying that did not help in sustaining our marriage? Yes, it did. Of course. There have always been irresponsible guys and ladies who cheat in their marriages. And they will be there till the end of time. But you see, what we find more worrisome in today's world, in today's Nigeria, is that these things are not discussed publicly.
Okay, Sergio,
time
honesty, Sajo, in all
Time it was.
honesty, I want to take you up on that, but we need to go on a break. I actually
All
want to
right.
take you up on that, but let's quickly go on a break. When we come back, we would deal this because there are a lot of things that it was working 15 years ago doesn't mean everybody was happy in that marriage. Do you understand? But let's quickly go on a break. When we come back, we would...
Stay tuned. Heartlines will be right back.
This season on Heartlines, we're committed to making a difference in people's lives. So Heartlines, in partnership with Reda Consult, is offering 12 free slots of counseling every quarter for people in need of professional counseling. Additionally, we're taking on 2 pro bono cases for individuals navigating a challenging divorce. To participate, please send an email to counsel@vedaconsult.com with your story. Our team will carefully review all submissions and will contact all the shortlisted candidates. Heartlines is live Mondays to Fridays at 10 p.m. So engage with us.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
Please note that you can share your story with us via WhatsApp number 081 903846663 or call in to join in the conversation on 0702500 7749 or 07014242420. And remember to please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Okay, so Sergio, before we went on the break, you mentioned how 15, 20 years ago we didn't have divorces and all that. But I can tell you that, let's be honest, as much as we want to blame the Western world and we pick things from the Western world, 15, 20 years ago, those people are not Gen Zs. A lot of them are divorced now. Let's be honest. Do you understand? Let's leave the Gen Zs. Even the people who were married. I didn't
hear that.
I said, let's leave the Gen Zs out of it. 15, 20 years ago, most people who were married 15, 20 years ago are divorced. Do you understand? I understand that, okay, we have picked a few things from the Western world. But the truth is, again, what we practice here is not also feasible because everybody is human. I can tell you, I can say, I want to believe that if we had it work, if it was really working and that people were happy, then there's no reason to change. Do you understand? If you're actually happy doing where you are. Hello, Sergio.
But Franca, can I react to that quickly?
Yes, sure. Why not?
Okay, you see, happiness in marriage is not freedom or liberation. You see, if you live in a time where happiness is tied to individualistic traits, or you want to, your understanding of being happy is that I'm able to do everything I would have done had I been single, then of course, you will never find happiness in marriage. And maybe that is what is informing the multiple divorces we have out there.
Okay.
But I'll say this to you for free. I am in the courtroom every day, discussing, experiencing, interfacing with these persons. I see majority of the matters we see in those courtrooms and the facts that are brought forth before the courts are matters that would not have gotten to even the sitting room of a home had we continued in that old culture and principles of marriage as enshrined in our customs and our way of life.
Okay.
Now, trying to...
Okay.
a person was not happy, not as free as you would want to be. I'm not specifically directing this to you. I'm generalizing for purpose of discussion.
Okay.
Trying to assume that the parents who endured marriage in their time were not happy because you are rating what happiness means with your understanding of happiness. If they were not happy, in their time, there were also divorces. In their time, there were traditional separations. But their understanding of happiness is completely distinct and at variance with what happiness now is in our society. And the understanding of what happiness is in our today Nigeria is the reason that corruption, evil, kidnapping, and all sorts of negative vices are now the order of the day. Because it is no longer happiness to see your brother grow. It is no longer happiness to see your children excel. It is no longer happiness to say, okay, I'm investing in my wife. I want to work hard through progress and success in life. It is no longer happiness to see, oh, my husband is growing and evolving and developing. What happiness now means is, am I driving a Lamborghini? Do I have $1 million in my account? Am I able to buy the latest wig? Am I able to afford 2 summer trips, one in Paris and the other one in Venice? Or on my way back from Paris, I'll stop over at Maldives. Because we have now become dysfunctional as a people, and we now see happiness in a rather worrisome state, it is now easier for us to assume that our parents who endured the beauty of marriage were not happy. Whereas in their time, happiness meant something completely and totally different. And in our children's time too, happiness will mean something different.
True.
Let me round up with this, Franca. It was super happiness in our time, particularly people of the Igbo extraction, to gather themselves and go home for Christmas.
Yeah.
And interact and interface with extended family members. Eating less than they would have eaten in Lagos, living sometimes in some mosquito environments, but it was happiness. From January to December, people looked forward and worked every day to see that December trip happened. Do you know that we are gradually not seeing that as happiness? Will we not say that our parents who look forward to those days were not happy? You see, happiness is changing. And it is changing, unfortunately, from the collective
to individualistic.
The happiness derivable from the collective good of the highest number is now becoming happiness of my good, my happiness, my freedom, my liberty, my choices.
But isn't that what happens when? Is that not
and
what happens
that
when?
happiness is one.
Sergio, is that not what happens?
And that
when
happiness is
evolve?
one that would destroy society.
Yes, but Sergio,
Well,
that's what happens when people evolve. Do you understand? Nobody's at the same.
People evolve.
Yes. So
but you see, we have societies that are evolving positively.
Okay.
And we have societies that are evolving negatively.
Okay.
We may as well say that our politicians are evolving. Big news it was when a politician will steal 700,000 naira. And everybody will shout, oh God, this man is a horrible thief. But they have evolved. They're not stealing in billions of dollars, not naira anymore. Yeah. That is evolving, right?
Yes, that's evolving. But so people. So
really
what I'm
evolving.
trying to say, when things like this happen, when you introduce new things, when new things come into a society or a country or whatever a space, people adapt. People take it in differently. So people react differently, negatively, positively. Do you understand? So that's what happens in every growing economy. So Sergio, I hear you louder.
But
Sergio,
let us not justify. Let us not justify that by the excuse that the people that came before us were not happy.
Sergio,
we have chosen what happiness is. Let us pursue
Sergio,
it.
no. I am not justifying it. Sergio, see, I always tell you something. When you speak, you understand, I cannot be Sajo. Sheyi cannot be Franca. People have different things that drive them. And Sajo, you might be lucky you're with someone who you can have a reasonable conversation with, who you guys can work together. They're actually people in terrible relationships. I'm not making excuses for people who look for reasons to be useless, to be irresponsible. No. I'm speaking about people who actually didn't get it right one way or the other. You understand? And I can tell you that there are people who actually want to be in their marriages, but it's not working. Not because they are bad people. Do you understand? It's not just working. And I also think that this is the point where we begin to educate people or tell the people what marriage is supposed to be. You know, yesterday we had a conversation that was channeled to, that we focused on sacrifices and commitment. People don't understand these things. Yes, you're on the compromise. Sajo, people don't understand these things. It is when you have proper conversations with people, you would understand that it is not everybody that is enlightened enough. Sajo, going to school does not mean you are informed. Do you understand? And marriage is something.
I agree with you.
Yes, and marriage is something that should be taught on its own. Just how to manage a home, to even manage people, is something that should be taught. Not everybody can manage someone. Because you understand, and this is what happens in marriage. You're managing yourself, you're managing your spouse, you're managing your in-laws. Do you understand? It is a lot, but again, it's not an excuse. If you are intentional, you can get better at it. But how many people are intentional? We're speaking because we have taken our time to develop ourselves as individuals. But how many people do that? Some people still think, Sajo, you and I usually will have conversations, and you tell me how people in your circle is supposed to be, if we're talking like everybody, your circle should not have anybody who is not like you. Do you understand? Because that's your circle, and everybody should emulate what is, you understand? Because your circle, that means that's where you pick things. Everybody's picking things from each other. But you have people in your circle who don't admire the way you are as a person. They use you, they will say, oh, they use you as an example. Can't you be like Sajo? But that's because you have been intentional. Not everybody is like that. We do say those people are not good. For the fact that you're friends, that means they're good people. But they just don't understand marriage.
No, please. Please, the fact that we are friends do not mean that I'm good or they are bad. And I'm not saying any of my friends is bad, and I'm not saying that I'm good.
You don't, Sajo, we're having a, no, it's not about...
They are who they are, and I'm who I am. But exactly. The point I'm trying to make is this. You see, what triggered my explanation was that if someone's marriage is not working, hang on to why it is not working. Do not say, oh, the people that made sacrifice in the olden time, they made sacrifice, they were not happy. No. You are not in a position to judge the happiness or otherwise of people. You are not happy. This is the reason you are not happy. Deal with it.
Sajo, but
nobody is saying
Sajo.
People endured before
no,
my
Sajo,
time,
nobody is saying that. No, Sajo, nobody. No, Sajo, nobody is saying that. I only said that because people have raised issues. Why women? These issues have been raised. Why women started being empowered was because of how they were treated back in the days. Mm-hmm. That's why it came up. So that's why we're saying, if they were happy, if there was something triggered that. That's why they started empowering women. Now,
are you saying that women are not very empowered because of their quest for liberation
Sajo, you don't
and
get Sajo,
immorality?
You like to argue. This is not that argument you want to have right now. My point is, a lot of things have been triggered
Our
because
time is almost up. We might as well close with the arguments.
Sajo, what I'm saying is, we know better, which is why we should educate people on how to be better people. Do you understand? And it is not by how you preach it, Sajo. You cannot push people or force people to do certain things. You need to make them understand why this is better. You're not going to say, oh, in that time, nothing wrong happened. A lot of things were wrong. Sheyi, you shared a story here growing up, how your father was never present. And you made an intentional, you were very intentional to say you would always be present. Do you understand? If you as a child didn't think your father was present, how was your mom feeling? But it doesn't mean they will divorce. But it doesn't mean she was equally happy or that she was completely unhappy in a relationship.
Can I clarify the presence that we're talking about?
As in the always traveling to work.
Always traveling for work.
Yes.
Not because it was not responsible.
No,
He was
not
as a
that.
big
Not
father.
that.
He was
Yeah, exactly.
sacrificing
No, not
father.
that.
Exactly.
What did you say?
He was working to provide for his
I'm
family.
not sure she meant that his father was an absent
Yes,
father.
Sergio,
that's
you
why
guys
I'm
don't
trying
miss,
to.
Sergio, you guys are missing it. You guys
Sacrificing everything
don't
to provide for his family.
Sergio
Yes.
is sacrificing. What we're saying is, whether you like it or
Abishay, am
not.
I right?
You are very right,
Sergio,
Sergio.
whether you like it or not,
You are very right.
he was not there when they wanted him to be there because he prioritized bringing money to the family. That was what he was after. That was what a happy home meant to him. That's what it is, whether you like it or not. You're not providing for your family. Are you not still in the family? What made you take that decision?
If the situations are kind of different.
Explain.
He did what he had to do because he didn't have a choice.
Okay.
If he had a choice to work, earn money he could earn, and be be with us, I'm sure he would take that opportunity.
Okay.
But he did what he had to do to provide.
Okay, but you said
You don't
your
have
brother.
any-
You said your brother
you
had
don't
the
have
chance to
any,
make more money somewhere else.
uh,
Well, because
Madam
of the same
Franca,
thing, your
Madam
brother
Franca,
chose to stay in
do you know how
Canada. They are
many children?
inless. You want to say another thing?
No, let's
Madam
listen to
Franca, do you know
Sergio.
how many children Shahid's father had? And do you know how many dependents?
Sergio, he had only
were
3
struggling
children. Don't
for
even
his
go that
earning?
route. Don't go that route,
Do you know how
Sergio.
many people were struggling
Sergio,
for his
listen.
earning?
Sergio,
In
see,
today's
we are
generation, we
not.
have just 3 children.
Sergio, we are not
Of course,
trying to
we'll be
win
more
an argument.
available
Sergio,
because
listen. We are not trying
our
to win
overhead
an
is
argument
less.
here. Sergio, we're not trying to win an argument here. We're trying to educate people on how to balance things, how to make the right choices. We're not trying to figure out who is right or wrong. We're saying that some decisions people take might not be good for the family. So you should sit down and look at things from all angles. It's not always about, money. It's not about this. That's what we're saying. Nobody is trying to paint anybody as an irresponsible father or as a bad father. No. We're saying for marriages to work, and we're trying to say what should people do differently for marriages to work? Because of all the divorces and everything, people should learn to make sacrifices and also consider their spouse. Also consider your children. Whether you like it or not, in this part of the world, parents don't regard children until they are older. The children don't have a say. Whether you like it or not, am I right?
This conversation should take longer because I even have more things to talk about.
Okay, but now you don't have that much time.
I don't
Sergio is
have
always
time.
arguing. He will not allow us hit our point. That's why Sisi Ade is always saying he will not allow somebody talk. So, Sergio, we will see you. We'll see you next week. He's going to call now. Sheyi, but seriously, that's what, basically that's what it is. Sergio, are you still there?
We can take it offline.
I'm here.
We'll take it offline. See you guys tomorrow. We'll take this offline.
All right, bye.